And Cable 35 bringing you today's action. And I'm with Coach John DiArco of the Eastchester Eagles. We're just a few minutes away from kickoff in probably the biggest game not only of this year but in many years, as the Eagles go up against the undefeated, equally undefeated and untied Byram Hills Bobcats. John, you're up against a team today that is averaging over 33 points a game, an awesome offense. How do you defense against a team like that?
Very carefully. Now, we're going to concentrate on stopping Byram Hills' offense in the sense that they have an outstanding runner, Matt Muller. Tremendous achievement, 1,400 yards. We're going to be definitely looking for him, but by all means, we can't just concentrate on him because that will leave other facets of their game open. So we're going to have a few wrinkles up our sleeve defensively. We're going to give him some different looks. We're going to play him head up. We're going to play him in the gap. And in the secondary, we're going to go man-to-man.
Okay, by the same token, this is a team that's only given up 6 points in 6 games, and that in a game that they were leading 34-0 at the time. How do you prepare for something as awesome a defense as they have?
That's very true. They are awesome on defense. They play a tenacious defense. They play an excellent team concept. They all go to the ball. They all know their assignments, and they carry it out. To beat a team of Byram Hills' status, you have to have a well-balanced offense and defense. We're going to definitely have to mix up the pass and the run. You're not going to beat this team with one big play or a fluke play. You're going to have to be consistent on offense.
John, on the eve of this year's opener, the game against Peekskill, I asked you what would have to happen in order for Eastchester to be victorious that day, and I think I remember you saying something to the effect that the team that made the fewest mistakes was going to win. Is that how you size up today's game?
Definitely. There are 2 excellent football teams playing. I feel these are the 2 best teams in the entire conference. The winner of today's game is going to be the team that makes the less mistakes and is consistent both offensively and defensively.
One final question. Before the season began, you had very high hopes. These hopes have been materialized as you've been undefeated as you go into today's contest. Have all of your goals been achieved up to now?
Yes, up to now. I think we could have been a little more consistent defensively and maybe a little more consistent on offense, but we're almost there, and today's the big one. Today's the one we've been gearing up for. We kind of expected, hopefully, to be 6-0 at this time, but today is the whole shooting match.
John, no matter what happens today, you've done a great job with this team. It's been a great season, and best of luck throughout the rest of the season.
Thank you, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank yourself, Mike Morgan, Jerry Fishoff, Pete Archiello, Mr. Inzio, and everyone else that was connected with Channel 35. I think this is one of the greatest things that has happened to our community as far as putting the boys on television and letting everyone see what goes on at Eastchester High School. Thank you very much.
John, it's been
Coach Rich Caputo of Byram Hills, and he's in his 14th year coaching the Bobcats on the gridiron. Congratulations, Coach, for a great season so far. What type of game do you expect today?
It should be a game that goes right down to the buzzer. Eastchester's very well coached, very well organized, and I expect to see a very intensified game.
We know each team has scouted each other pretty well this past few weeks. Have you prepared any differently based on what you've seen and heard about the Eagles?
This is our 3rd year that we've played each other, so we know each other pretty well. It's just a matter of which team executes the best.
We also know Coach Caputo is one of the outstanding lacrosse coaches in Westchester County. Which is easier, preparing for a game like this or lacrosse?
A game like this takes a lot more preparation. Lacrosse you play 2 or 3 times a week, and this you only play once a week. The preparation is much more intensified, and a great deal more people on my staff work towards the ultimate goal.
Well, thank you very much, and good luck to you. We're waiting for the start of the game. You're looking at the field where we see the Bobcats Yellow here with us on commentary. What do you look for today? Of course, this is the big one.
Well, you're absolutely right. This is the big one for both teams, for Eastchester and for Byram Hills. There is one change in the Byram Hills offensive line. Chip Meacham is out with Quinn Schnurr. Josh Dorfman is going to start at quarterback. He has played the past 2 games at quarterback, but it comes aspect of Byram Hills offense. That's it. Rolling. Byram Hills cannot throw the ball without Meacham in the game, so they lay a lot of burden on the shoulders of Matt Mueller, who has done just a fabulous job this year and for the past 2 years. He's a super running back, but I know John Garber, he's going to come up with something to shut that kid down. He just has a history of shutting a big back down. Back in 1971, Andy Nucci team shut down a fellow from Woodlands named Dolly Edmonds. In 1981, the Eagles went up to Sleepy Hollow to play Harold, the legend of Sleepy Hollow, Harold Gable. He had averaged over 400 yards a game. Got out of there with about 67 yards. 2 weeks later, went to the bowl game, broke the state rushing record with 402 yards on the ground. And that's like what John DiArco and the Eagles pride themselves in. They've done that all year, and today will be no exception. I expect Eastchester to come out with a little variation, maybe a monster.
Good afternoon, football fans. Welcome to Eastchester High School and Jarvis Bowl.
But I think the whole key
Today's game features the Byram Hills Bobcats, undefeated with a record of 6-0, against the Eastchester Eagles, undefeated with a record of 6-0.
They've shown you everything so far. They've passed the ball, they've run the ball, they have multiple offense. With my brother, the offensive coordinator, I hear that there'll be a couple new wrinkles this week for Byram Hills, and that's how it should be. This is the game. This is for the championship. This is for the right to play the big B-ball for the undefeated season, and I'm just expecting a hard-hitting good game.
Today's game will be telecast by Channel 35, Government Access Channel.
Cliff Akins in the white hat. Head linesman Bob Reynolds. Umpire.
We are happy to announce that today,
Jim
while the Eastchester High School Marching Band is playing the Star Spangled Banner
Director for Eastchester.
on television,
This should be a good ball
a
game
former
today. Eastchester
student,
has an advantage in
class
size
of
and weight.
77, Ethan Allen, will be singing the Star Spangled Banner on television.
That may take its toll during the course of the game.
Sorry, Ethan Freeman. Ethan Freeman. Ethan Freeman is presently in Vienna, Austria, where he has the leading role as the Phantom in Phantom of the Opera. Ethan Freeman is a graduate of the class of 77 Eastchester High School, and we are honored that Ethan Freeman is performing so well.
At linebackers, 2 juniors, they came in early. John DiArco put the confidence in their hands. You know, your linebackers are more or less they're like your quarterbacks on defense. They do the job for you, they get everything going, and they have really matured into good players.
And on Friday, the final telecast will be at 3 p.m. And now we would like to introduce the starting lineup on defense for the Byram Hill Bobcats. At the free safety, number 1, Josh Dorfman. At the strong safety, number 17, Matt Stendler. At the other corner, number 33, Mike Fugarelli. At linebacker, number 36, Andrew Guida. At the linebacker, number 44, Lou Sheriff. At nose tackle, number 56, Carl Eckstein. At defensive end, number 57, Rob Anderson. At defensive end, number 63, Chris Pinkham. And at the defensive tackle, number 7, Peter Brotman. The head coach for the Bobcats, Rich Caputo, assisted by Bob Cook, Jamie Gallo, and defensive coordinator Dick Holzer.
Today, you will be hearing the national anthem sung by Ethan Freeman. He is an opera and a Broadway star and a graduate of Eastchester High School, so it's very appropriate that we feature him today at homecoming. He graduated in 1977, where he went on to Yale University and then to the Conservatory of Vienna, where he received a master's degree in music. In his tenure with Eastchester High School, he played for the varsity football team. He was a guard and a linebacker. He is now currently in Vienna, Austria, preparing for the lead role in Phantom of the Opera, which opens in December.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sailors, that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Eastchester's alma mater. Eastchester Government Access Cable TV 35, bringing you today's homecoming, the big event. Two undefeated teams, the Byram Hills Bobcats and the Eagles of Eastchester, New York. There's Coach John DiArco, and what a job he's done, Pete.
Yeah, Coach Jarko's done a great job. I guess people that know him well like I do, we don't really appreciate much that he does because we're just so used to him winning and doing the great job he does. He's also surrounded by a real super bunch of coaches, Tony Archiello, Joey Luciano, Joe Lucci, Chris Simon, Tommy Richter, Harry Milano. I mean, they're just, they make his job a lot easier. But these are the games that John loves to see. He loves to be in that big game. He loves to show somebody a different wrinkle, something he's never shown before. Very innovative on defense. Tony Archiello and Joe Luciano innovative on offense. And I just really think that some of the prognosticators who have put Eastchester as a 21-6 loser in the newspaper, I think they're going to be in for quite a surprise.
Byram Hills are Matt Muller, number 17, and number 50, Ursello. Tri-captains for Eastchester are number 72, Joe Chiffone, number 85, Ralph Zingaro, and number 24, Mike Morgan. Mike had an outstanding game on Friday night in the rain against Pelham, being named player of the game with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And it appears that Byram Hills has won the toss. They've elected to receive. And Eastchester will be kicking off and defending the goal to our left.
I think that's an interesting call on Byram Hill's part to accept the ball first. A lot of teams this day choose to defer the toss and get the ball in the second half. But I think Coach Caputo has one thing that's on his mind and he's very concerned about, and that's the fact that if Eastchester gets up on him first and gets that first early touchdown, his team has never been behind, and I don't think he's really sure how they would relate to being behind in a game. The Eagles have been behind. They were losing to Nanuet. Nanuet ran back to second half kickoff, and Eastchester fell behind, and they came storming back. I think Coach Caputo taking the ball is showing not too much confidence in his defense, but it also gives Eastchester a chance to see Muller early. It'll give John DiArco a chance to set the tone on defense, and he just loves that.
Kicking off for the Eastchester Eagles will be Ralph Zingaro. By the way, we heard the Byram Hills defensive starting team announced. Eastchester Eagles, in the idea of team spirit this year, have the entire team introduced as a group rather than having individual players named. Back deep for Byram Hills is Chris Tateo. And the game of the season is about to begin. High, coming down around the 8-yard line. Tateo bringing the ball up. Stopped just beyond the 20-yard line. 12-yard return, brought down by Ray Labrino and Andy Petrillo for the Eastchester Eagles. The Eagle defense lines up with Ray Flood and Ralph Zingaro at defensive ends. Vinny Calparasso and Joe Chiffone at tackle. We'll give you the rest of the defense in a moment. Quarterbacking for the Byram Hills Bobcats, Josh Dorfman. There's a pitch to Matt Muller, leading running back in Westchester this year. Picks up about 4 yards on that play. Stopped by Rob DeLeo and Ray Labrino. Correction, that was carried by Lou Cherico. Rest of the Eagle defense, Chris Hayes at linebacker, Rob DeLeo at linebacker, and at rover linebacker, Mike Morgan. Back deep at the corners, Andrew Petrillo, Butch Burrows, and Mark Williams. Second down and 5. Handoff to Muller, going over the right side. Stopped right around the 30-yard line. Butch Burrows and Mike Marone in on the hit.
Before the game, John DiArco told me that when Byram Hills comes out in the split back, he's going to try to put his defensive power to the opposite side of Muller. Now, that sounds odd, but it's not. The fact is that Byram Hills is a power offensive team. They're a team that likes to run with a lead back, leading Muller, blocking to that side to which he runs. And that's why John's doing that. He's watched the films, and he's seen that that is their tendency, and that's why he's giving that a try today.
Byram Hills, which is their right, has requested a measurement on the play, although it appears they're about a yard short. And it will be 3rd down and 1. That gives the coach a little extra time to try and decide what play he'll call on this first important play of the game. Also in at defense for Eastchester at right defensive end, Chris McCrory, number 75. Bobcats showing a wishbone. Handoff to Muller, breaks back up over the middle, very close to the first down. Stopped by Chris Hayes and Joe Chiffone. And we are going to have a measurement on this very close.
If you watch Byram Hills' offense, a very interesting unit. They use very abnormally wide splits. They split the, I mean by splits, I mean the space between the center and guards and the tackle. They go more than a yard. That opens up their inside game for Muller. With the bigger split, it opens it up, spreads out the defense more, and that's where they use Muller. The only type of team that can prevent that from being a problem is an Eastchester type of team, especially a John DiArco coach team, because John loves to blitz people, and he plugs up that gap very adequately.
As you saw on the measurement, it was good enough for the first down. Josh Dorfman brings them out 1st and 10 from their 31-yard line. Pitch to number 44. Louis Jericho dropped after about a 1-yard pickup by Chris McCrory and Oni Chris Hayes. 2nd down and 9. Eagle defense has been outstanding this year, giving up only 4 touchdowns in 6 games. 2nd down and 9. I formation for the Bobcats with a slot to the right. Pitch back to Matt Muller, tailback. Brought down around the 35-yard line by Joe Chiffone and Andy Petrillo. And we have timeout. Apparently one of the Eastchester players is injured on the field.
You're watching Eastchester Government Access TV, Cable 35. It's the homecoming game. The score is 0-0. We're in the opening minutes and the first drive of the game, and it happens to be for the Bobcats. Byram Hills in white and Eastchester in red. There's an injured player down. We can't see quite who it is. It's Butch Burrow, and hopefully Butch will get up and recover pretty fast. He's attended to now by evac as well, and we'll be back shortly. That it's important for Burrow to return to the Eastchester lineup. And he'll be substituted for at least one play. Here's Pete Arciello.
It's interesting on defense. You'll probably see a lot of injuries like this. They call it stingers. It's when the nerve pinches against a bone and it gives it like a tingling, dead feeling in the arm. You're going to see that against a back like Muller.
Okay. We have a 3rd down and 5 situation facing the Bobcats. I formation, slot left, pitch back to Muller, cuts back up over the middle. And gang tackling by the Eastchester Eagles stops him well short of the 1st down. Joe Chiffone and Ray Flood in on the bottom on that tackle, stopping him short, bringing up a 4th down and about 4. The Eastchester Eagle punt return team headed by DJ Inzio comes on the field, dropping back deep. Mark Williams. Back deep to kick, Mark Muller. Kick is high, coming down around the 33-yard line, fumbled, and Williams falls on the ball. So Eastchester will take over 1st and 10 on its 34-yard line.
There's the first evidence of the loss of Burrows. He's Eastchester's main punt returner. They put Williams back there. Although Eastchester has a lot of depth and a good athlete, return that punt, especially in a big game. That always gives you a little something in your throat and in your head to think about. And he bobbled it, but he held on, and now Eastchester goes on offense.
Eastchester Eagles take the field now. Offensively, 1st and 10. Larry Esposito at quarterback, Ralph Zingaro fullback. Tailback Mark Williams in motion. Mickey Morgan. The snap. Handed off to Williams, going over the left side. Picks up about 1 yard. Stopped by Andrew Guida. The offensive line for the Eastchester Eagles are led by Joe Luciano at center, Chris McCrory at left guard, Chris Hayes at right guard, Vinny Caparasso at left tackle, Joe Chiffone at right tackle, Ray Labrino left end, and right end Alvar Lee. Alvar Lee splitting wide to the left. Mickey Morgan in the slot to the left. Handoff to Williams going up the middle. We have a flag on the play. Williams picks up about 7 yards going up the middle. But with preliminary decision, looks like it's a hold against Eastchester.
Let's give our credits today. Producer and director Mike Morgan, also on camera, who will be with us in particular for the girls volleyball, which follows. Mr. Henry Lee. PA announcer Ralph Albanese. Dr. Boyer, of course, at the markers, Mr. Z, Ray Flood, and Chris Tito. The band led by Joe Ranello, and the cheerleaders led by Patty Handel. Athletic director Dom Ciceri. Sports Club, Tony Del Vecchio, and thanks today to the Eastchester Blue Devils for use of their camera, and the Eastchester Baseball League for use of their cable. Did we get them all, Lenny?
I sure hope so. Okay, Byram Hills accepted that holding penalty. That'll bring up a second down and about 18 for the Eagles. Wide to the right, Alvar Lee. Wide to the left, to flank it back, Mickey Morgan. And Eastchester goes into a shotgun. Little new look for the Eagles. I don't think they've used that this year so far. Morgan going in motion. Esposito calling the signals. Handoff to Mark Williams going around the left side. Not much room there. Stopped after a gain of about 2 yards. Rob Anderson and Lou Sirico make the stop. Also helping out on that, Paul Alfarone. We have no score here in the first period with about 8 minutes left to go. Eagles are faced with a 3rd and 15 situation. Esposito has not thrown much this year, only 41 passes, but he's completed 20, and 7 of those have gone for touchdowns. Eagles show a slot left, Alvar Lee wide to the left, Morgan in the slot. Esposito calling signals. Esposito straight back to pass, good protection, thrown deep over the middle, but it's picked off by Andrew Guida. And he is stopped on the 48-yard line. The ball was intended for Mickey Morgan, slightly underthrown, and the Bobcats get the first big break of the game. They'll put the ball in play 1st and 10 on the Eagle 48.
Here's your first indication of Coach Caputo, his respect for the Eastchester throwing game. He put Muller, who's normally a defensive end, in the secondary to play cornerback, and Guida was dropped back about 20 yards off his linebacker position. That they're going to play that pass well if they play it like that.
1st and 10, Josh Dorfman at quarterback for the Bobcats. Hand off to Muller, right up the middle, diving straight ahead. Stopped by Joe Chiffone, Ralph Zingaro, and Rob DeLeo. The Eagles are definitely gang tackling, trying to stop Muller. But he picks up about 4 yards, bringing up a 2nd down and 6. Burrows is still on the sideline. 2 weeks ago, Butch had an outstanding game, carrying for 147 yards against Nyack. Slot left for the Bobcats. Dorfman pitches back to Muller, going over the right side. Nice hole. Dragged down by Andrew Petrillo after he picks up a 1st down, and there's a flag on the play. Ball's down to the 35-yard line. First and 10 for Byram Hills. And the flag has been picked up, so it may have been an inadvertent flag at that point in time. So Byram Hills has a 1st and 10 on the Eagle 35-yard line. Byram Hills with a slot left and a wide receiver to the right. Big spread formation. First time they've shown this look so far. Dorfman hands off to Lou Chirico right up the middle. Carries for a gain of about 3 yards. Stopped by Vinny Caporaso and Joe Chiffone. 2nd down and 7 for the Bobcats. Timeout for the Bobcats. They were actually in an illegal formation. They had a straight T in the backfield and a wingback, so they had too many men in the backfield at that, and Pete.
On Eastchester Government Access TV, Cable 35, you're watching Eastchester High School football game of the week, where there's no score with about 5 minutes left. 3:45. Well, I was close. We would like to salute the varsity cheerleaders and Eaglettes who competed last Sunday at the 4th annual Pearl River High School Dance and Cheerleading Competition. The girls swept the Beat Division with 1st place trophies in the varsity cheerleading, varsity dance, and 1st place in the specialty dance, which featured the Eaglettes. And we're appreciative of the cheerleaders, the senior cheerleaders, and the senior football players who sent their regards and their thanks up to us here in the booth. We've received a number of compliments, a number of suggestions to continue our program, and please write into Town Hall or call them at 793-5800 to tell them what you'd like to hear and whether we should continue these programs. Cable TV 35 also salutes MVP of the Colonial Cup game, which we did for you last week, Mickey Morgan. He's out on the field, and he wears number 24. We'd also like to congratulate JV soccer coach John Dawson and his team, who ended the season with a fabulous 10-3-2 record, the best ever for JV soccer. Back to Len Inzio with the call of the game.
Okay, the Bobcats will put the ball in play. 2nd down and 7 on the Eastchester Eagle 32-yard line. Pitch back to Miller, going over the left side. Stopped after a gain of about 2 yards by Chris Hayes, Ralph Zingaro, and Joe Chiffone.
There are two things that Eastchester can do to stop Muller today. The first thing is get that defensive line surge that we were talking about. That hasn't really been evident yet. The second thing is have those young linebackers, DeLeo and Hayes, fill those gaps, get up in the hole, and cut Muller off before he gets on line of scrimmage. That's what you saw right there with Chris Hayes.
3rd down and a short 5 yards for Byram Hills. They go to that spread formation once again. Fake to the fullback, quarterback keep. Josh Dorfman going around the right side, and he is pulled down by Chris McCrory, short of the 1st down. Also in there was Rob DeLeo. By the way, Jerry, Eastchester Eagles varsity soccer team made the playoffs this year. I know they had the first game this morning. We're anxiously waiting to find out the results on that. And speaking of the star of the Colonial Cup game, Mickey Morgan, I seem to remember that his father was the star of the Eastchester Pelham game a few years ago. Okay, 4th down and about 3 yards to go for the Bobcats. Deep in Eagle territory, the ball on the 27-yard line. So they'll be going for this. Slot left. Pitch back to Muller, going around the left side. Brought down by Andrew Petrillo, and the ball is being marked right around the line. This is going to be very, very close to the 1st down. And the officials are calling for a measurement. Okay, we have less than 3 minutes to go here in the 1st quarter, and this is going to be a very, very critical situation. And they are short of the 1st down. The Eastchester Eagles have held. They take over 1st and 10 on their 25-yard line.
There's momentum swing number 1. Eastchester, 4th down and 5. They shut it down. They come up. Byram Hills is really throwing everything at him, spreading things out, trying to get Muller that open up the middle. Muller got their open field tackle. When an Eastchester kid can hold Muller and make an open field tackle and prevent that 1st down, that's got to be a boost for them offensively.
1st and 10 for the Eagles on their 25. Butch Burrows is back in the game, split wide to the left. Mickey Morgan in the slot. Esposito in a quarterback, holding the signals. Straight back to pass. Being rushed, being pressured. Grabbed and pulled down by number 53, Mike Versello. There's also a flag down on the play. No indication at this time.
In addition to this League 3A contest, which of course is for all the marbles, Eastchester of course has a record of 5-0. Byram Hills a record of 4-0. Peekskill and Ardsley play, as well as Nanuet and Pelham, and Westlake and Edgemont play to complete the League 3A slate for today. Want to thank the sports club for their Rose Festival, and today they're giving out those flowers, which goes to the Eastchester Scholarship Fund, the Eagle Scholarship Fund. And back to the action.
Okay, That was the illegal procedure call against the Eagles. However, it was declined by the Bobcats. So that'll bring up a 2nd down and 16 yards to go. Eagles come out with a slot right. Butch Burrows wide to the right. In the slot, Mickey Morgan. Esposito hands off to Ralph Zingaro. Nothing going there in the middle. Stopped by Mike Versello. Also helping out, Luz Chirico.
If you notice the Byram Hills defense, Rich Caputo is a smart gentleman, and I'm sure he watches the films. They've put Mueller, who we said in the beginning was normally a defensive end or an outside linebacker, at the corner spot, and he's playing Butch Burrows one-on-one on the outside. The other thing they do is they leave the offside linebacker way, way off of the last Eastchester man. That's to stop the option coming back the other way.
3rd and 16, Burrows wide to the left. Morgan going in motion, heading over to the left. Esposito is pulled down from behind by Tal Eckstein, who blitzed in there to trip him up from behind, bringing up a 4th down for the Eagles, and they've been pushed back to their 14-yard line. So the Eagles will be punting from deep in a hole. Back deep for the Bobcats. Matt Muller. Butch Burrows will be punting for Eastchester. Appears to be less than a minute to go here in this first quarter. Burrows kick. High. Somewhat short. Muller calling for a fair catch, and he takes it in on the Eastchester 45-yard line.
Eastchester's offense has not been able to get on track early today. They've stalled. They haven't produced anything. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think that that's going to be too much of a concern for the Eastchester Brain Trust as we see the end of the first quarter and the team switch sides. Eastchester's an explosive type team. Byram Hills is more of a grind them out, run them down team. If Byram Hills gets that offensive ground game going, then Eastchester could be in for a long day. But Eastchester's a one-play type team. Esposito has had that big play pass. Like we said, 20 of his pass completions have been for touchdowns. If Eastchester can get that one play and get on top of Byram Hills early, it could really put the Bobcats in a hole. Like we said, Byram Hills has never been behind, but I don't think Eastchester's really that much concerned about the offense. They're going to try to work some kinks out, and they're, like we said, they're more of a big play team.
We remind you with this homecoming extended coverage today, following this game, we will have girls volleyball, the Eastchester Invitational Tournament, where Coach Roberta Pfeiffer takes her young ladies to a tournament over in the new gym.
Bobcats have 1st and 10 on the Eagle 44-yard line as we begin the second quarter with no score in the game. Handoff to Lou Chirico, straight up the middle. Picks up about 4 yards, stopped by Vin Caparasso. And Chris Hayes in on the stop. 3-yard gain, so that'll be 2nd down and 7 for the Bobcats. Wishbone formation in the backfield. Dorfman fakes to the fullback, pitches out to Muller, who is dropped way behind the line of scrimmage by Ray Labrino. Great play, solo tackle by Ray Labrino, dropping him for a 6-yard loss on that play.
There's one of John DiArco's wrinkles, wrinkle number 1. He put a linebacker or defensive end on the quarterback to hit Dorfman. Hackley, who Byram Hills played last week, did not do that, and they just ran the option to death. You put that person on the quarterback, and it forces him to pitch the ball, and then you're playing one-on-one with your outside linebackers on Mr. Mueller.
3rd down and 13 for the Bobcats, who have been reluctant to throw in recent games ever since their starting quarterback, Chip Meekum, got hurt 3 weeks ago. But with their running attack, they don't have to pass too much. Pitch back to Muller is loose. It appears that Muller has recovered the ball. The ball was recovered on the Eastchester Eagle 49-yard line. That'll bring up a 4th down and 15 for the Bobcats.
that vaunted Byram Hills running game getting shut down here in the second quarter, and it's all because of that defensive end play. Like we said, John DiArco's telling these defensive ends, get on Muller, and that's what they're doing, and they're just stopping things.
Give Ray Flood for credit for the tackle on that play, getting in on Muller. Muller is back to punt. Butch Burrows back for the punt return. Kick is short and goes out of bounds. Not a very good punt at all. The ball is out of bounds on the 33-yard line, it looks like. That's only a 16-yard punt. So the Eagles will put the ball in play in much better field position. 1st and 10 on their 33-yard line.
I don't know if you can hear the chant in the background, but the Eastchester fans are saying, Muller, Muller, and we hear that in various sporting events. We're pleased to announce that we will have a show next week. Most likely, it's going to be football again at Edgemont, unless the Eastchester soccer varsity has completed it through the first round and has a game on Saturday. So we will be here, thanks to producer-director Mike Morgan, and here's Len Inzio with the action.
Eastchester slot left, Burrows in the slot, Morgan wide to the left, Esposito straight back to pass. Going to keep the ball, he's running upfield. Grabbed and pulled down from behind around the 40-yard line. Tackled by Rob Anderson, but a nice 7-yard gain on that play for the Eagles. Second down and 3 coming up for the Eagles. Burrows wide to the right. Morgan flanked. Burrows wide to the left. Morgan flanked wide to the right. Esposito calling signals. Handoff to Mark Williams, trying to go over the left side. Tripped up on the play by Lou Chirico and Tal Eckstein. 3rd down and 2 for the Eagles. Big play for the Eagles here. Going in now, Jeff Miller and Alvar Lee.
I think Eastchester, I think their best bet here to spread things out. It looks like that's what they're going to do. They're going to split 2 people, put a new tight end in. They're going to try to spread things out a little bit, and that's going to try to open up the middle for either Butch Burrows or Zingaro.
And we have a penalty. Penalty appears to be against the Eagles. 5-yard penalty. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 8 for the Eagles. Apparently the Eagles lined up incorrectly on that play. Alvar Lee wide to the left. Jason DiGiacomo going wide to the right. Esposito calling signals. Handoff to Butch Burrows. Butch stopped just short of the line of scrimmage by Andrew Guida and Louis Chirico.
That Eastchester, that penalty is a big penalty. Jeff Miller, this is only his 2nd game after gaining eligibility, and I don't know, that's kind of a tough call to put him in there. He was the person, I believe, who went off sides and caused a 5-yard penalty, and that's a big play because that play would have gone for the 1st down.
Burrows back to punt for the Eagles, deep for the Bobcats, Matt Muller. Pressure on the kick, but he gets it away. Muller signals for a fair catch and then dives, catching the ball around the 42-yard line of the Bobcats. We have about 7 minutes, a little over 7.5 minutes left here in the first half with no score.
And next week we can announce now that we will be doing football at Edgemont, as we've just gotten the sad news that the varsity, although they played a great game, lost 1-0 at very tough Hendrick Hudson, and they just came back this morning. But congratulations to Alfio Carabota and his squad for an excellent season. They are 11-8 and have 2 more games to go.
1st and 10 for the Bobcats. Ball pitch back to Muller. Picks up about 3 yards. The ball is fumbled but it goes out of bounds before any possession is regained, so the ball remains in the Bobcat possession.
That's what John DeArco's looking for. Butchie Burroughs just came up and stuck Mr. Muller, gave him a little something to think about. Muller shaking his arm back there in the Byram Hills huddle. It looks like he got popped pretty good on the elbow or the forearm. That's Eastchester's trademark, that tough defense. And there hasn't been a back that's played against John DeArco or the Eagles in the past 10 years, a superstar back who hasn't gone out of here knowing that he was in a ball game.
Second down and about 6. Slot right. High formation for the Bobcats. Hand off to Muller. Over the left side. Joe Chiffone on the bottom there. Vinny Caparoso and Rob DeLeo. Eastchester Eagles gang tackling at every opportunity. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 2 for the Bobcats with the ball on the 50-yard line.
The rap against Matt Mueller this year has been that he doesn't block when he's not getting the ball, and also anytime that he gets hit hard enough, he does not want to carry the ball. He kind of shies away from it, and I think we're seeing that a little bit now after Butch Burroughs hit.
3rd and 2. Hand to Muller. He is stopped close to the 1st down. Joe Chiffone once again in on the tackle. And Vin Caparoso. Joe Chiffone having a lot of tackles in this game, and that's kind of surprising. Usually linemen are not expected to lead the team in tackles, but Joe is seemed to be calling his name more than anyone else. This is close enough for a measurement. Our preliminary indication, and from our angle, it appears they may be short. And they are, in fact, short by about 2 feet, bringing up a 4th down for the Bobcats. By the way, if you enjoy our broadcasts and would like us to continue doing them, we need you to call or write letters into the town of Eastchester. Please let them know that you're enjoying our games. We'll continue this season with your assistance and your support. We'll bring you some basketball games, some volleyball games, and hockey during the winter, maybe even some baseball games come springtime.
Oh, I'm sure if Mr. Mike Morgan is still producing and directing, we're going to do baseball.
The Bobcats line up in a punt formation, although Eastchester is looking for the fake. And Eastchester was drawn offside. And one of the players stepped off. And that'll give the Bobcats their 1st down. What they were hoping for. Unfortunate situation for the Eagles. So it will be a 1st down for the Bobcats on the Eastchester Eagles 44-yard line.
Some youth sports activities. We're going to have Eastchester Youth Soccer, a girls' game in the new girls' division. And in a 3 weeks from now, we'll also be doing a Blue Devil Bowl game.
1st and 10. Handoff to Matt Muller. Stopped right at the line of scrimmage by Joe Chiffone once again. And also in there, Chris McCory.
We talked about it early in the game that the key to this game is the Eagle defensive line. If they get that good surge, Joey Chiffone is just totally manhandling his man, putting him in the backfield, getting to Muller early. That's what you have to do. That's how you stop a great back. You get him at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage, and that's how you stop a great back.
Second down and 10 for the Bobcats. Slot right. Dorfman's pitch back to Muller. That's right. And he's dropped at the line of scrimmage once again. Forced in by Mickey Morgan. Stopped by Rob DeLeo, who's having a good game, and Andrew Petrillo. 3rd down and 10 for the Bobcats. Defensive captain Mickey Morgan exhorting his team. He came up quickly to force that play back in for no gain. 5 minutes left here in this scoreless 1st half. Excellent game between 2 of the best teams in Westchester County. We have a whistle. timeout for the Bobcats. Jerry?
Okay, Eastchester Volunteer Ambulance Corps. Is that what the C stands for? EVAC. And there's their truck, and they're always with us, and what a marvelous organization they are. And you saw when Butch Burrow got hurt earlier in the game, they were out there, Johnny on the spot, and they do a fabulous job, and we hope everybody supports them and supports their building fund drive. And if you'd like to become a member, and it's a lot of fun, it's a great service to the community, please contact them at their non-emergency number, 725-0900. For donations, write and send it to EVAC P.O. Box 482, Scarsdale, New York, 10583, and that goes for their Building Fund campaign as our cameraman, Mr. Morgan, focuses in on EVAC.
Have 4 minutes and 40 seconds left to go here in this scoreless first half, as the Bobcats of Byram Hills will be putting the ball back in play with a 3rd down and 10 from the Eastchester 44-yard line. Little confusion in lining up there for the Bobcats. Now they have a slot left, and we have a whistle for delay of game against the Bobcats. That'll make it 3rd down and 15. And for a non-passing team, that's a pretty tough situation to be in, Pete.
Yes, it sure is. You're seeing a little bit uncharacteristically Byram Hills today. They've been a very disciplined, well-coached team. Today they're a little bit disheveled, and I think that's just a case of how Eastchester's hitting them on defense. Right here in this situation, I think Byram Hills is forced to put it up. They do have the wind at their back, and I look for a little play-action type pass here.
3rd down and 15 for the Bobcats. Slot left. Handed off to the fullback on a dive. Lou Chirico, and he is stopped by Chris McCrory and Chris Oni Hayes with a 1-yard gain. 4th down and 14. The Eastchester Eagles put in their punt return team. Going in at nose guard, DJ Inzio. Back deep, Mickey Morgan and Butch Burrows. Kicking for the Bobcats will be Matt Muller. A couple of players got close to that ball. The ball is sailing into the end zone for a touchback, so the Eastchester Eagles will put it in play. 1st and 10 on their 20-yard line with about 4 minutes to go in this first half. No score. Four-minute warning now as head referee Cliff Akins goes to each sidelines to tell each coach not only that there are 4 minutes left in the half, but how many timeouts they have left remaining. The Eagles will put the ball in play, 1st and 10 on their 20. Pete, what do you look for them to try to do with 4 minutes to go in a half?
I think Eastchester's going to do exactly what they've tried to do all game. They're going to set up with some little run plays, try to see if they can break something open, and then they're going to put the ball up in the air.
Okay, wide to the right, Alvar Lee. Wide to the left, Mickey Morgan. Esposito. Behind center, Joe Luciano calling signals. Hands off to Rouse and Garrow, and the ball is fumbled, and it is recovered on the 20-yard line. No, I'm sorry, that's the 15-yard line by Mike Versillo. A big break for the Bobcats. It'll be 1st and 10 on the Eastchester Eagles' 16-yard line. Wishbone formation in the backfield as Josh Dorfman calls the signals. Hand off to Muller, trying to go over the right side. Stopped at the line of scrimmage by Chris Hayes and that man on defense, Joe Chiffone. And the Bobcats have just called their last timeout here in the first half.
That could come into play later on here. Eastchester is obviously shutting down Mueller. He's not getting to the hole quick enough. It doesn't seem like he really wants to even run with the ball today. Defense is doing a great job. It's the Eastchester offense that's been the problem so far today. I'm sure John DiArco, Tony Archel, and Joe Luciano work something out at halftime. But using that last time out for Byram Hills, that could pose a real problem for them if they get into a 3rd and long situation. They're not a passing team. They're not what they call a quick call team or an audible team. They're more a team that goes on that slow process of calling the offense. And if that running game doesn't get going, if they get stopped here on 2nd down, 3rd down decision could be important, and without a timeout, it could be even more important.
Following this game, we'll have girls volleyball in the Eastchester Invitational Tournament, and that will be followed in our extended coverage today by highlights from the class of 1958 reunion breakfast. Lenenzio.
We'd like to congratulate the Eastchester freshman football team, having beaten Westlake last week by a score of 21-13. The Bobcats put the ball in play, 2nd and 10 on the Eagles' 16-yard line. Wishbone formation in the backfield. Josh Dorfman calling signals. Handoff to number 36, Andrew Guida, carrying for the first time in this game. Picks up about 3 yards, stopped by Chris McCrory and Oni Hayes. 3rd down and 6 yards to go.
This is a 4th down situation for Byram Hills. Their kicking game is not a good one. I saw Muller also does the kicking as well as everything else, and he didn't look like this would be in his range. You're going to see 2 downs, probably Muller getting the ball on both of them.
They're in that wishbone again, but Muller is now at right halfback instead of his usual left halfback, so the indication might be he'd run to his left side. Fake to him. Left-handed throw by Dorfman. The referee right on top of the play indicates the ball was caught by Jason Wright inside the Eagle 10-yard line, short of the 1st down. They're going to have a 4th down, and it looks like about 1 yard to go. The ball placed down around the 7-yard line on the Eagles. 4th and 1. That was the first pass thrown by the Bobcats today. 4th down and 1. Ball on the 7. Wishbone formation. Handoff to 36. Andrew Guida stopped around the line of scrimmage. We missed the tacklers on the Eastchester team, but it appears that they have stopped him short of the 1st down marker. It appears that way from our indication, but the officials will measure. We have a veteran group of officials here today. And his 1st down, Eastchester, the defense has held.
Pete, how big was that?
Obviously, that's huge. You don't want to go into halftime giving them a touchdown on one of your mistakes, that fumble by Zingaro. Eastchester, I mean, they have just done absolutely everything to stop the run today and stop Muller. But more importantly than just stopping Muller, they're stopping everybody. Guida and Cherico. Eastchester's really, really prepared today. And I just really can't understand how Caputo, Muller came into the game with over 1,300 yards, how he doesn't give him the ball on 4th down.
Eagles take over 1st and 10 from their 7-yard line with about 2 minutes to go in this half. Handoff to Mark Williams going up the middle. Picks up about 3 yards to the 10-yard line. Stopped by Andrew Guida.
Lenny, we want to point out that the Bobcats are out of timeout, so the Eagles can run down the clock and run it out.
Second down and 7 for the Eagles. Coming wide to the left, Butch Burrows. Esposito calling signals. Handoff to Williams, trying to go over the left side. Stopped right around the line of scrimmage. Mike Versello in on the tackle. Helped out by Lou Chirico. Pickup of 1 on that play. So we have a 3rd down and 6 for the Eagles with the ball on their 11-yard line. Andrew Petrillo checks into the offensive lineup for the Eagles with the play. Faced with a 3rd down and 6 situation. John DiArco's son is one of the water boys, hauling the water back and forth on the field for his father's team. The Eagles will put the ball back in play, 3rd down and 6. There is a little over a minute to go in this first half. We don't have the official clock, slightly over a minute. Esposito calling signals, bumps into Zingaro and falls down. The Bobcats do not have any timeouts left, so they cannot stop the clock. The Eagles may be trying to run the clock out, and they did. That is the end of the first half with the score, Eastchester Eagles 0, Byram Hills Bobcats 0.
You're watching Eastchester Government Access TV Cable 35, and we'll be back shortly with the halftime show, including the Rose Festival Parade and the Queen of Roses. Coach John DiArco there walking off the field with the referees surrounding him. And John has to be satisfied with a perhaps, well, let me ask Pete's opinion. You think John is satisfied going in tied at halftime 0-0 against a team who's rated, what, number 2 in the state?
Yeah, well, he's satisfied to a point. John's not happy. Rankings mean nothing. They mean absolutely nothing. Byram Hills is number 2 in the state, and they just played an even half 0-0 with Eastchester, who's not even ranked in the state yet. John DiArco's not a rankings man himself. He was never too excited about those things. He's got to be happy with what his defense is doing. They're doing a great job. They're doing exactly what he planned for them to do. They stopped Muller. Byram Hills got that good break at the end of the first half, getting the ball first down and 10 on the 15, and they didn't do anything. And he's got to be happy with that. Offensively, a little bit of concern, but Eastchester's size, Eastchester's depth is going to be the key in this game now after a scoreless first half. They're going to wear them down, and they're going to just play them. They're going to take Byram Hills in the second half with that depth that we spoke about. Eastchester's passing game hasn't been able to get going yet, and I think they're going to make some changes that way offensively and defensively. They have to continue to be ready to play.
And there's a picture of Ethan Freeman, whose rendition of the Star Spangled Banner we heard to start the game. And, of course, as we mentioned, he's away in Vienna preparing for the production Phantom of the Opera, where he has the lead part. And it's appropriate to remind ourselves of the former students here and former football players. He played 1977 team linebacker for the Eagles. You're looking at the Eagles marching band in front, led by Joe Ranello. And if we can focus a little further back, we will see the Eagles cheerleaders and Eaglettes who have done so well performing for us here at the football games, as well as in competition on their own. As we mentioned, how well they did in competition at Pearl River last week. And here they are in their tribute to the 1950s. And there's the Eastchester Eagle, more famous than the Philly Fanatic. Following the end of this game, we will have Eastchester volleyball. We'll see Coach Roberta Pfeiffer's young ladies as they go up against Ursuline and Pelham in the tournament being hosted by the Eagles. Repeat showings of today's game or games will be Tuesday 9 a.m., Wednesday 3 p.m., 7 p.m., and 10 p.m., Thursday 9 a.m. and 12 noon, and Friday 3 p.m. as we're listening to Rock Around the Clock. Our producer-director, Mr. Mike Morgan, wants me to remind everybody to vote on November 8th. Get out and vote. We can't promise we'll have such perfect weather. The weather today, absolutely beautiful, as you can see. The sunshine. I'm talking about beautiful. Look at those beautiful young ladies. Mike, can we get a close-up of some of them? The cheerleaders, led by Patty Handel. Government Access Cable TV 35, and we'll be back with the Festival of Roses Parade and the Homecoming Queen.
The marching band and cheerleaders of Eastchester will perform Everything's Coming Up Roses. Today we're happy to have the Rose Queen and her court. After a heated election, the student body of Eastchester High School would like to introduce the court for today's Rose Festival. From the 9th grade, Veronica Castaldo. From the 10th grade, Michelle Scaranza. From the 11th grade, Gina Cesare. From the 12th grade, Stephanie Shamara. And today's queen, the Rose Queen of Eastchester High School, the Queen, Tricia Rulin, and Everything's Coming Up Roses.
We'd like to point out that this is Tricia Rowland's 4th time at this event, having been the 9th, 10th, and 11th grade representative. Let's repeat the names of those beautiful young ladies: Veronica Castaldo, Michelle Sicaranza, Gina Cesare, Stephanie Shimara, and Tricia Rowland. And Veronica, Gina, and Tricia are also with the cheerleaders, but of course they're taking time off from that. And TV Cable 35 salutes these young ladies and the work being done by the band and the cheerleaders and eaglettes. We'll be back for the start of the second half of this scoreless game between number 1 Byram Hills and number 2 Eastchester very shortly. Are we on yet?
Are we on? We have a view of the crowd. What's interesting is not only do we have a lot of Eastchester fans and, of course, Byram Hills fans, but we have a lot of players from Westlake watching this game, and we have the coaches from Nanuet here watching the game because they'll be playing Byram Hills next week. And we have Briarcliff here scouting, figuring they're going to play one of these teams in the ball game. So a lot of interest in this.
There's some of the crowd here, some of the regulars, a large crowd today, people from all over the county, as Lenny was pointing out. We also saw jackets from John F. Kennedy High School, from Westlake High School, Tuckahoe, of course. And we want to congratulate Tuckahoe High School coach Jack Fernandez soccer team for making it into the Class D playoffs. And we'll focus on EVAC one more time and remind you that they're looking for donations for their building fund. And you can send it in. If I could find the card which has their number on it, and I can. P.O. Box 482, Scarsdale, New York, 10583. And if you'd like to join EVAC, contact them at their non-emergency number, 725-0900. Eastchester Volunteer Ambulance Corps.
Oh, you mean upstairs?
TV Cable 35 bringing you the action, and there are the Eagles back on the field for the start of the second half. Coach John DiArco. Number 7 is Larry Esposito. 42, Andy Petrillo. 51, Joe Luciano, and as Lenny pointed out, what a great game he's having so far. Our spotter for today's game, as always, Mr. Vince Caparasso. Chris McCory, number 75 for the Eagles. And so far, 0-0. It's most likely that both of these teams will be invited to a bowl game to be held the weekend prior to Thanksgiving. And it's absolutely certain that the winner of the game, if the game doesn't end in a tie, will be invited. Police Officer Joe Mariani and his father. Everybody's here today. Number 99, DJ Inzio. Number 20, Ray Labrino, who made that outstanding tackle in the backfield of Byram Hills, stopping Muller. Number 82, Andy Lee. Number 65, Richard Flood. Everybody warming up, getting ready. 21, Jason DiGiacomo. And number 33, Butch Burrow, and he looks okay. I'm Jerry Fishoff. I'm bringing you the action along with Len Inzio, who's on play-by-play, and Pete Arciello on the commentary. Your producer, director, cameraman today is Mr. Mike Morgan for football, and cameraman for volleyball and the Class of 58 reunion, which will be coming up afterwards, Mr. Henry Lee. Vince Caparasso, our spotter today, and the PA announcer is Ralph Albanese.
The co-captains are meeting in the center of the field with the officials at this point in time. Eastchester will be receiving, and the Bobcats will be kicking off from our left to our right. One of the reasons why Eastchester has had successful sports programs at the high school level is their excellent youth programs. And this spring will be the Tuckahoe Youth Association Baseball's 30th anniversary season. And maybe we'll be able to bring you a game or two of theirs. We've always brought all-star games to you in the past, so we'll be looking forward to that for the 30th year in a row. Tuckahoe Youth Association Baseball, that's children 7 to 12 years old playing baseball. Pete?
getting back to that, the spawning of these high school athletes, Eastchester Blue Devils, there are quite a few ex-Blue Devils out there for the Eagles. Joey Luciano, Mickey Morgan, Butch Burrow, Larry Esposito, just to name a few. That's a great thing to have in a town this size. You don't have the overflow number of athletes as you do at a White Plains or a New Rochelle, and so the athletes that you do have coming in, you should get them that early training to make them better athletes now. The less coaching that has to be done and the more strategy that's worked makes any team a better team. Eastchester getting the ball here in the second half, I would assume that they would probably try to run their whole offense off of their pass offense, meaning run a lot of draws and screens. I see Esposito working on the shotgun now early.
Speaking of the Blue Devils, they have 5 teams at the youth level. 2 have only 1 loss this year, and the other 3 are undefeated. As we get set to start play in the second half, Matt Muller will be kicking off for the Bobcats. Back deep, Mickey Morgan and Butch Burrows. Muller's kick, high, fairly deep, coming down around the 8-yard line, taken by Butch Burrows, up to the 20, and dropped around the 20-yard line by Mike Versello and Rob Anderson. So the Eagles will put the ball in play, 1st and 10 around their 21-yard line as we start the second half of this scoreless battle. In at quarterback for the Eagles will be Larry Esposito. The offensive line led by Joe Luciano at center. McCrory and Hayes at the guards. Safone having a great game on defense, plays tackle, along with Vin Caparasso. The ends are Labrino and Lee. We'll give you the rest of the lineup in a moment. Morgan in motion. Pitch back to Burrows, heading over the left side. Nice pickup of about 5 yards. Stop by Tal Etstein and Josh Dorfman. Sorry about
Eastchester in the second half, that first play, that's the type of thing they want to get to. They want to have the secondary making the tackles because the secondary is the heart of the Byram Hills offense on defense with Dorfman and Muller in the secondary.
Eagles go slot right. Morgan in the slot. Alvar Lee wide to the right. Morgan in motion. Handoff to Burrows. Picks up about 2 yards over the right side. Tripped up by Lou Chirico. 3rd down and a long 4 for the Eagles coming up. Mark Williams coming back in the lineup. Replacing Burrows at tailback. Ralph Zingaro lines up at fullback for the Eagles. Slot left, Alvar lead wide to the left. Zingaro now flanks to the right. Morgan goes in motion. Pitches back to Williams, trying to go wide to the right. Tripped up short of the line of scrimmage by Mike Fuggerelli. That'll bring up a 4th down for the Eagles.
That the call with Byram Hills taking the ball on the first possession of the game and giving it to Eastchester now. Obviously, Byram Hills wants to win in the 3rd quarter, but that could pose a problem for them because they're giving Eastchester the ball with the wind in the 4th quarter, and their passing game is really an excellent part of their offense.
Butch Burrows back to punt for the Eagles. Deep, of course, is Matt Muller for the Bobcats. Muller takes it on the 45-yard line and brings it back to the Eagle 45-yard line. Stopped by Rob DeLeo. Angelo Rico and Frank Versace. So the Bobcats will put the ball in play on the Eastchester Eagle 45-yard line, which seems to be the place they've been before in the first half. However, the Eagle defense has been very strong so far in this ball game. Dorfman in at quarterback for the Bobcats, calling signals. Pitch back to Muller, going wide to the left, cuts it back up, dropped after a gain of about 3 yards. Chris McCrory, Rob DeLeo, and Ray Labrino in on the tackle.
The Eastchester defensive end, once again, doing the job. They've been the difference so far, shutting down that option, and they really strung out that half, that little pitch that Byram Hills runs there. Eastchester's defense, if they can come up as big as they did in the first half and the second half, a scoreless tie, like they say, is like kissing your sister, but Eastchester will take that against number 1.
Wishbone formation. Handoff to the fullback. Lou Chirico up the middle. Stopped by Joe Chiffone for no gain. Third down and about 6.
Byram Hills coach is getting a little up in arms with Chris McCory's hit on Josh Dorfman, but what they have to understand is he's another player on the field. It makes no difference whether he hands off the ball or not. He's live bait just as much as anyone else, and with that Eastchester aggressive defense, he could be in for a long day. A little bit leery because they did lose their starting quarterback, Chip Meekum, earlier in the season.
On that option play, it's hard to tell whether he keeps the ball or not. Dropping back to pass, Dorfman. This will be only his second pass of the game, but instead, he is tripped up behind the line of scrimmage by Ralph Zingaro for a 4-yard loss, and that'll be 4th down for the Bobcats. The Bobcats look like they'll be going into punt formation. The Eagles send in their punt return team. Morgan and Burrows back deep.
Following this game, we'll have varsity volleyball with the young ladies coached by Roberta Pfeiffer, but now back to football as Muller, who tries to do it all, is back to punt.
And there is the punt, low. Bounding down around the 14-yard line of the Eagles. So that is good for a 30-yard punt with no return. Josh Dorfman, the quarterback, down the ball. And the Eagles will put the ball in play 1st and 10 from their 15-yard line, which, Pete, has been a problem for the Eagles. They've had bad field position all game long.
Yeah, they have, but like we said, they're a big play offense. They're the type of offense that you get Burrows or Williams to the outside or catch Mickey Morgan on a pass play, and they could break this thing wide open. I think that's what they're looking for, which isn't really a good attitude to go in with. You got to try to establish something first, and that's what I hope they're going to try to do in the second half.
Esposito calling signals. Pitch back to Williams, go around the right side, and he is dropped for a 3-yard loss by Lou Chirico. And the Eagles have had a lot of big plays this year. Last week in the Pelham game, Mickey Morgan broke loose of a 46-yard run and a touchdown. The week before against Nanuet, Butch Burrows went 72 yards for a touchdown on a run, and Mark Williams has been Mr. Consistency with 4 out of 6 games rushing for over 100 yards. However, this is a different game. The Bobcats have a strong defense, and so far there is no score in this game. 2nd down and 13 for the Eagles. Back on their 12. Handoff to Morgan. Up the middle for about a 1-yard gain. Stopped by Andrew Guida and Lou Chirico.
One amazing point that I'd like to point out is you've only seen 2 penalty flags all day today. That's a true mark that each one of these teams is truly a great team. They're well disciplined, they play hard, they don't play dirty, and that's a credit to both coaches, Coach Caputo and Coach Diarca.
3rd down and 12 for the Eagles. Wide to the left, Alvar Lee. Wide to the right, Mickey Morgan. Esposito calling signals. Drops straight back to pass. Being rushed, rolling out to his right, throwing deep, wide open Morgan, but the ball is underthrown and taken by Muller for the interception. He is dropped by Morgan on the 44-yard line of the Eagles. Helping out was Andrew Lee on that play.
For Eastchester, that turns out to be just as good as a punt without the risk of snapping the ball into the end zone. If Eastchester didn't get that there and had a punt, Butch Burrow would have been punting out of his own end zone, so it works out just the same.
Well, we knew coming into the game that Eastchester would have a double problem, stopping the offense of Byram Hills, and so far they have, but also trying to score against their defense having given up just 1 touchdown the whole season.
Bobcats, once again, starting off in Eagle territory on their 44-yard line, 1st and 10. I formation with a slot left. Pitch back to Muller over the left side. And picks up about 4 yards to the Eagle 40-yard line. Dropped by Andy Petrillo and Joe Chiffone. Second down and 6, just inside the Eagle 40-yard line. High formation in the backfield. Pitch back to Muller, coming to the right side, met behind the line of scrimmage by Ray Flood, knifing through there to help bring him down. And Mickey Morgan finishing him off. That'll bring up third down and about 8 yards to go after a 2-yard loss. Wing back to the right. Trap coming back to the inside, carrying the ball, number 36, Andrew Guida. Stopped by Oni Hayes and Chris McCrory after a gain of about 2 yards. We will have a 4th down and 6 for the Bobcats. Eagles punt return team checking into the lineup. Now they're making a change. Eastchester is totally confused and smartly calls timeout. Score right now, 0-0 with about 3 minutes left to go in this third quarter. The Eagles weren't sure whether to have the punt return team in there or their defense, so they called timeout.
Eastchester is 5-0 atop of League 3A, and Byram Hills is 4-0 in League 3A. Byram Hills has played one fewer League 3A opponent and has 2 more to go after today, whereas the Eagles have but lowly Edgemont left on their schedule, and we will be bringing you that game next Saturday from Edgemont. A clarification on the soccer team, the format calls for best of 3 within a group of 4. They still have a chance, even though they lost to powerful Hendrick Hudson today, if all of the teams tie 2-2 and they win by virtue of the tiebreaker and further play Saturday. But we're counting that as being unlikely, although we do want to credit Coach Alfio Carabota and his fine squad for their performance so far this season.
4th down. Back to punt. Matt Muller. Eagles have Morgan and Burrows back down on their 10-yard line, waiting for the kick. And it is kicked high, deep. Morgan grabs it. And he's out of bounds on the 8-yard line. Interesting situation. Butch Burrows was calling for a fair catch. The ball went over his head, was caught by Morgan, who did not signal for a fair catch, and he ran with the ball. So there's some confusion, and the Byram Hills players are complaining to the referees about that. Their referees are now conferring with regard to that situation. I don't know if that's a penalty or not, Pete.
Yeah, that should be a penalty because Burrows cannot call a fair catch while the other player catches the ball, because a fair catch is just basically geared to stop the defense to prevent any mishits or anything like that. They're discussing it right now. I don't know what their call will be. I don't know if they're going to mark this off or not. If they do, it's another tough break for Eastchester. It just pins them back a little bit further. It seems like they're not going to make the call. It seems like they're going to let the play stand and mark the ball there on about the 10-yard line.
The man that made the fair catch did not catch the ball.
The man who was indicating the fair catch did not catch the ball, and apparently that must be the reason why there is no penalty. I think Burrows was assuming the ball would go on into the end zone, not realizing that Morgan decided to catch it. So the Eagles put the ball in play, 1st and 10, from their 10-yard line, 90 yards away from the goal line. Wide to the left, Burrows, flank to the right, Morgan. Esposito calls signals. Backfield is split. Handoff to Ralph Zingaro, dropped behind the line of scrimmage by Tal Etstein.
Byram Hill's defense is doing a great job. They're using their speed on the offside of the play to get to the Eastchester ball carriers. The Eastchester offside tackles and guards aren't getting that first initial hit and getting downfield. They're just heading on downfield early, and that's opening up a gap, a lane for the offside people to come back.
2nd down and 12 for the Eagles at their 8-yard line. Burrows wide left, Morgan wide right. Morgan in motion. Handoff to Mark Williams, who breaks loose. Excellent tackle by Matt Muller. Ball brought out to about the 16-yard line, and the Eagles will have a 3rd down and about 3 to go.
We got to stop choking on those peanuts that our spotter Vince Caparazzo is providing for us. There is no score in this very thrilling game. 1 minute and 44 seconds left unofficially in the 3rd quarter. We're here with Pete Archiello on the commentary, Len Inzio on the play-by-play, and I'm Jerry Fishoff with timeout on the field.
That appears to have been a official's timeout for equipment change or repair. One of the Bobcats has his helmet off. Apparently there's a problem with it. Have a 3rd down and 3 with the ball on their 17-yard line. Morgan wide to the left. Burrows wide to the right. Morgan goes in motion, back to the right. Esposito calls signals. Handoff to Williams, trying to go over the left side. Breaks loose and dropped. Close to the 1st down. Appears a little bit short. Tackle by Lou Chirico, the way the ball is being placed. It is short of the 1st down. Josh Dorfman was also in on the tackle for the Bobcats. The Eagles are faced with a 4th down and less than a yard. Appears that they're putting their punting team in. Rob DeLeo, Willie Spinelli, Frank Versace enter the lineup, along with Ray Flood. Butch Burrows drops back deep to punt. Going back for the Bobcats, Muller. Burrows kick, nice high kick, but it's going to come down short. Good bounce for the Eagles.
Okay, ball winds up just on the midfield stripe, where again the Bobcats will have it in relatively good field position, and we're in the waning minutes of the 3rd quarter. No score here at the Jarvis Bowl, Eastchester High School. A very thrilling game because it's so tense, because of what it means to the teams.
This could be one of those big play games. Muller breaks the tackle and goes all the way, or Williams or Butch Burrows on Eastchester's side, or a fumble. It looks like it's going to come down to one of those type plays.
Ball on the 50-yard line, pitch back to Muller. Stopped right around the line of scrimmage. 77, Vin Caparazzo trips him up.
That was Vin Caparazzo making the stop for the Eagles. No gain on the play.
The Eastchester Eagle defense has been outstanding so far today. Matt Muller, who is averaging well over 10 yards a carry coming into this game, is averaging well under 10 yards a carry in this game. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score Eastchester Eagles 0 and the Byram Hill Bobcats 0.
At the conclusion of this game, stay tuned for Eastchester Eagles volleyball with the young ladies, coached by Roberta Pfeiffer, in their invitational tournament. Also one of the happenings here on homecoming day. Following that, we'll have some clips of the reunion breakfast of the class of 1958. And as we said, we'll be bringing you football again next week from Edgemont High School, where the Panthers have the unfortunate task of trying to stop the powerful Eagles.
Okay, Byram Hill, 2nd down and 10 with the ball just inside the 50-yard line. Slot right, pitch back to Muller. Morgan forces him back in. Dragged down from behind by Joe Chiffone after a 4-yard gain, and there is a flag on the play. Appears it may be a late hit against Eastchester. If it is, that will hurt. Personal foul against Eastchester is the call. And instead of bringing up a 3rd down and 6 yards, we're going to have a 1st down. Byram Hills will have a 1st down inside the Eagle 40-yard line, inside the 35-yard line. On the Eastchester Eagle 32-yard line, 1st and 10. Eleven and a half minutes to go in this game. 1st and 10.
Come on, Vinny, let's go. Make a big play. Nice fumble now, but this is great.
Power right formation. Pitch back to Muller, going to the right. Dorfman leading. Big gain there. 7-yard gain for Muller. Dropped by Chris Hayes and Andy Petrillo.
This is where the Eagles have to show their pride and their composure. Byram Hills had that first and 10 on the 15 late in the first half, and Eastchester stopped them. It's virtually the same situation. They just have to cut them down again.
2nd down and 3. Ball on the 25-yard line. Wide slot to the left. Play going straight up the middle, breaking it all the way down to the 2-yard line is Lou Sirico. Big, big play for the Bobcats. Saving the touchdown, Ray Labrino and Andy Petrillo.
That's one of those plays. Byram Hills goes away from Muller, kind of a deception play, gives the ball off to one of the other backs. He just breaks a little hole up the middle and runs it down. Eastchester cannot get down, though. They're a team that's come from behind before and looks like they might have to do it again now.
1st and goal from the 2. Dorfman. There is a flag. Illegal procedure is the indication against Byram Hills, as they were stopped short of the goal line on that play. 77, Vinny Caparasso, and 72, Joe Chaffone, stopped that play short of the goal line. And the penalty is illegal procedure. Eastchester will be accepting it, and that'll move the ball back out to the Eastchester Eagles 6-yard line. So we have a 1st and goal to go from the 6-yard line.
About 11 minutes left, Len.
Wishbone formation. Handoff to Muller, going over the left side. Stopped short of the line of scrimmage. Ralph Zingaro on the bottom. And Ray Labrino coming up, making a big hit. 2nd down and 6 on the Eastchester 6. And that defense looks pumped up, Pete.
They sure do. You know, a lot of teams get nervous in this situation. This team does not. This team loves to have their nose against the grindstone. They love to be playing in that tough situation, and they're showing it right here.
2nd down and 6. Handoff to Matt Muller, back up over the middle. He gets into about the 4-yard line. Looks like the whole Eastchester team was in on that stop. Chris Hayes down on the bottom. And Vin Caparasso and Joe Chaffone in on a tackle. 2-yard gain, bringing up 3rd down and 4 at the Eastchester Eagle 4. This is 4-down territory, right, Pete?
Especially with the poor kicking game that Byram Hills has. This is definitely 4-down territory. The first half, they had the same situation. They did not give the ball to Muller. They have to do it here.
Muller at right halfback. They fake to the fullback. Dorfman keeping the ball. Gets loose down near the goal line. There is a flag thrown into the middle of the pile. We have no idea what that could be. There's no indication of a touchdown. We'll just have to wait and see. Everyone's unpiling. It appears he was stopped short of the goal line because there was no signal of a touchdown. Byram Hills is walking away, and the preliminary indication is face mask against Eastchester. But at that point, it only moves the ball a few inches closer to the goal line. The officials are conferring on that penalty, whether that changes the down or not. We could have, excuse me, we could have a 4th down and goal to go inside the 1-yard line. And that's what we have. We have 4th down and goal to go. And we're talking inches at this point in time. Byram Hills coach is coming on the field yelling for a timeout. Byram Hills has called timeout.
And Rich Caputo is trying to say what's going on. Pete, why is it still 4th down?
Well, there are 2 face mask type penalties. There's a personal foul face mask, which is a flagrant face mask. That's a 15-yarder, and that's an automatic 1st down. This was the incidental face mask penalty, where the hand just slips on, then slips off, or it just grabs it by accident. And that's only a 5-yard penalty, and it's not an automatic 1st down. That's why we go to 4th down.
3rd down and inches to go for the touchdown. Byram Hills breaks out of their huddle. They're in their wishbone offense. Muller at left halfback. Dorfman calling signals to hand off to Muller. As everyone expect, he was hit initially short of the line of scrimmage, and he gets his way into the end zone for the touchdown. Matt Muller scores for the Byram Hills Bobcats. That touchdown comes with about 9 minutes left to go in this game. Plenty of time for the Eagles to try and come back.
Yeah, there's a big extra point coming up. And we'll wait to see what they elect to do. It looks like they're going to be going for the kick. Number 81,
Justin Stein tries the kick. The holder, Matt Dorfman, and the kick is off wide to the right. So the score is Byram Hill Bobcats 6, Eastchester Eagles 0, with 9 minutes to go in the game.
That extra point's a big play. If Eastchester can get their offense on track and get going, they have an excellent kicking game, and if they get in the end zone, it's almost a given that Zingaro can put the ball through, and they could go ahead 7-6. But like I said, they have to get that offense going, first of all, and second of all, it's a little odd to me why Muller didn't kick that ball. He kicked all the balls in pregame warm-ups, and looks like he's going to even kick off here for the kickoff. I don't know why.
Now, Eastchester is not a stranger to trailing in a game. They trailed Nanuet 8-7 and came back to win by a score of 20-8. Muller back deep for the Eagles. Mickey Morgan and Butch Burrows. And we have a little bit of a wind now, and this kick will be going into that wind. Kick is high, fairly deep. Going back to the 6-yard line is Butch Burrows. Breaking around to his right, up to the 20, 25, 30, 35, and forced out of bounds around the 35-yard line. Excellent return for Butch Burrows. Pushed down the line by Rob Anderson. That's about a 30-yard return, and this is the best field position the Eagles have had in some time.
That's the type of thing they needed. They needed to get out of that hole, get the ball in their midfield. Now they can run their own offense, start doing things, and that's a great way to start it.
Eastchester Eagle quarterback Lawrence Esposito is celebrating his 18th birthday today as he brings the Eagles up 1st and 10 on their 36-yard line.
Maybe he can give us a present, Lenny.
Pitch back to Butch Burrows, trying to go wide around the left side. Dropped behind the line of scrimmage by Andrew Guida.
Yeah, the Eagles still have to contend with the powerful, the mighty defense of Briarcliff, and as we pointed out, have given up only 1 touchdown this year.
I think you meant Byram Hills when you said Briarcliff there. Yes, they do. But now with the win, they can open up a little bit more on offense. They can throw it a little bit more, do some different things. And another thing is, there's a lot of time left in this game, 8 minutes. If they get stopped here, Eastchester, Butchie Burrows has an excellent foot. He can put it down there deep, and then they can get things going on defense.
Eagles faced with 2nd down and about 14. Esposito rolling right. He's got running room out back to the original line of scrimmage to the 37-yard line, knocked out of bounds by Matt Muller.
Chris McCory just laid a block on a defensive end for Byram Hills, number 74, and he just absolutely laid him out, which opened up that lane for Esposito. Eastchester, I mean, it's a given now. They're going to be putting the ball up in the air.
3rd down and 9 for the Eagles. Coming back in, Mark Williams. 8 minutes to go in this game. Byram Hills 6, Eastchester nothing.
Oh, we're playing Byram Hills. I thought we were playing Briarcliff. Actually, I got confused. There's some Briarcliff kids here, and Briarcliff will most likely face the winner of this game in the bowl situation down at Mount Vernon.
Butch Burrows in motion, going to the left side. Esposito straight back to pass.
Throw it.
And he is dropped behind the line of scrimmage by number 53, Mike Versello. Not really very good protection there. Dropped back on the 30-yard line for a loss of about 6 yards. And that'll bring up a 4th down and 16 for the Eastchester Eagles. Punting team comes in for the Eagles. Checking into the lineup, Ray Flood, Willie Spinelli, Rob DeLeo. Back deep, Butch Burrows. Of course, Muller's back to return the kick. Bad snap, but Burrows handles it well, gets the kick off. Bouncing around the 42-yard, down by Rob DeLeo. So Briarcliff will put the ball in play, 1st and 10 from their 42-yard line. With about 7 minutes to go in this game, Briarcliff leading 6-0 over the Eastchester Eagles.
Formula simple for the Eagles. Stop Byram Hills and take it on in.
Pitch back to Muller. Finds the crease, breaks through for about a 5-yard gain, stopped by Rob DeLeo. I think we'll stick to calling them the Bobcats. It's a lot easier. 2nd down and about 6 for the Bobcats. Power left formation. Handoff to number 44, Lou Chirico. However, there is a flag, and a preliminary indication is holding against the Bobcats. In on the tackle, Chris Hayes and Rob DeLeo. Rob is having an excellent game for the Eagles. Holding against the Bobcats is the indication. I'm sure Eastchester will accept that penalty, and that'll push them back 10 yards to their 35-yard line and bring up a 2nd and 16, which for a running team is not a good position to be in. Referee Cliff Akins marks off the penalty. Little over 6 minutes left to go on the unofficial clock that we maintain. Bobcats pitch out to Muller, going around the right side, and drop just after a 2-yard gain. Butch Burrows tripping him up with an excellent tackle. That'll make it 3rd down and 14 yards to go for the Bobcats.
Here's a big play for the Eagles. They hold them here, force Byram Hills to punt. They do not have a good punting game. Muller, I believe, does their punting. He's taking a beating today. That could take his toll on his punting also. Eastchester needs to get the ball back, get some good field position, and get a little something going.
3rd down and 15. The Bobcats have only tried 2 passes so far in this game, relying basically on their running attack, but this is a passing type situation. But instead they pitch back to Muller, and he's dropped once again at the line of scrimmage by Chris McCory and Joe Chiffone. Joe Chiffone having a great game, leading the team in tackles today. 4th down and 15 to go for the Bobcats. Obvious punting situation.
Len, we're a little under 5 minutes, so the Eagles, when they regain possession of the ball, should have enough time.
They are short one timeout. When they were confused earlier, they had to call a timeout. Ball close to being blocked And both Burrows and Morgan let it go, and that was to their disadvantage. As it rolls down to the Eastchester 26, they lost about 10 yards by letting the ball go.
You're absolutely right. That's a big play. You pick it up there, you catch it on the fly, what they call a low punt is a good one to do it with, and you can get another 10 yards, and you're talking about a 20-yard difference. You're talking about having the ball in midfield as opposed to having it on about the 27-yard line.
And also, Pete, when you catch the ball, you have a chance of breaking it loose, and neither of those guys have the speed enough to do it. Nonetheless, with 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go, Byram Hills is ahead 6-0, and birthday boy Larry Esposito going to try to lead the Eagles to the end zone and to win this game for them.
Burrows wide left, Morgan wide to the right. It appears that both wide receivers are going to receive double coverage. Dropping back Esposito. Good protection this time. Morgan loose, catches the ball at the 50-yard line and goes out of bounds in Briarcliff territory around Byram Hills territory around the 46-yard line.
Lawrence Esposito did a great job of reading that play. That you got to give him all the credit there. He was looking for Butch Burrows. Byram Hills had a problem there, though. Matt Mueller, who's been covering Burrows basically one-on-one, was on the opposite side. They had a boy named Stensler on Butch on that side. Lawrence Esposito read that Mickey was open and threw it to him right down the sideline.
Well, there's some life in the Eastchester fans and the team. First down and 10 in Byram Hills territory. Pitch back to Burrows, halfback option. Morgan intended receiver, but the ball is incomplete, out of bounds. Back covering on the play, Josh Dorfman and Matt Muller.
That's a good play for Eastchester on first down. That gives Byram Hills a little something to think about. He threw it away. He didn't throw it anywhere where it could be intercepted. Threw it down to Morgan on the sideline. Eastchester, it's time to just take everything, open up the bag, and just let everything fly now because it's late in the game and they are down 6-0.
Second down and 10, and we now have the 4-minute warning. 4 minutes left to go in this game with the Bobcats leading 6-0 over the Eagles. Ball on the 48-yard line. Second down and 10 for the Eastchester Eagles. Burrows wide right, Morgan wide left. Eagles go into a shotgun formation for the second time today, and actually the second time this season. Snap back to Esposito, looking downfield. The pass is intercepted and taken back by Butch Burrows. Eastchester Eagle ball on the 40-yard line. Butch Burrows took the ball away from number 45, who is Chris Pinkham. Third down and 3.
That was just an individual effort by Burrow. He just, with his strength, he just pulled away the ball away from Pinkham and keeps Eastchester's drive alive. It's third and about 3 now.
So the Eagles, instead of having a turnover, had the ball with third down and 3. Very determined effort by Burrows. Morgan wide to the right, Alvar Lee wide left. Burrows at tailback, pitch back to Burrows. Throwing a pass back to Esposito, but Esposito was covered and it was incomplete. That'll bring up fourth down and 3 yards to go, and this a play run by the Eastchester Eagles. They will not be punting in this situation. Well, the Conference 3A Championship may be riding on this next play. Little over 3 minutes to go in this game. The Eagles trailing 6-0. Morgan wide right, Alvar Lee wide to the left. Zingaro at fullback, Burrows tailback. Esposito hands off to Burrows over the right side, close to the first down. Tackled by Mike Fuggerelli, and the officials will measure, as they have done all day today in close calls.
They got an excellent spot there. If they get the first down, it's all on a spot in Butch Burrows' effort. If they get this first down, you look for Eastchester to just start throwing that ball, getting it up in the air. There's not much time left. And it is the first down.
No way.
Big play for Eastchester as their hopes continue. Timeout, Eastchester. 10 yards to go. The ball on the Bobcats' 37-yard line. Eagles with a slot left. Esposito calling signals. Esposito back to pass. Esposito run out of bounds for a big loss, and the reason why that happened was there were only 10 players in there for Eastchester. They did not have a tailback on the field after that timeout. The Eastchester Eagles have one timeout remaining. The clock is stopped with a little under 3 minutes. Second down and 23 yards to go for the Eagles. The Eagles only have 10 players out there. They do not have a tailback on the field. Esposito calling the signals. Big rush, thrown for Burrows. Nice catch, brought down on the play by Paul Alfarone. Mark Williams now coming into the lineup for the Eagles. Andrew Petrillo brings in the play to quarterback Larry Esposito as the Eagles face a critical third down and 18 yards to go. Slot to the left. Morgan in the slot. Burrows wide left. Esposito straight back to pass. Big rush. And Esposito is dragged down from behind by Rob Anderson. Dropped back on the Eagle 45-yard line for a loss of about 12 yards, 44-yard line, loss of 12 yards on the play. Bringing up fourth down and a lot. And the Eagles call timeout.
And that's our final timeout with the score Byram Hills 6, Eastchester nothing.
Eastchester is facing the impossible task of a fourth down and 34 yards to go. Byram Hills safeties are 15 yards deep. The Eagles go into their shotgun. Slot left, Burrows in the slot, Morgan wide receiver. Esposito looking deep, throwing it. Incomplete. Ball intended for Burrows, knocked down by Muller. And both players are shaken up on the field.
And Butch Burrow gave that extra effort to get to the ball, but just fell slightly short.
Yeah, he did. He extended himself. It was right at the first down marker also. That's a tough play. Those two plays where Esposito had to scramble out of there, those are the demise of Eastchester on this drive, and also the fact that they only had 10 players out there for 2 plays in a row.
School sports, and what you saw was some really good sportsmanship. Both Butch Burrows and Matt Muller were injured on that play. Muller got up sooner than Burrows and went over to see how Butch was, and that's great sportsmanship. The Bobcats come out first and 10. The ball on the Eagle 44-yard line. Less than 2 minutes to go in the game. Dorfman calls signals. Ball back to Muller, going over the right side. Stopped after a pickup of about 2 yards by Rob DeLeo. Also, Mike Morgan in on the tackle.
We have about 1 minute and a half left in the game, and it's very appropriate that we really compliment the Eagles defense. Byram Hills has been averaging 33 points a game, and so far the Eagles have let up only 6 points in the game. Back to Len Inzio on the call.
Second down and 7, power left formation for the Bobcats. Pitch back to Muller, going around the left side, cuts it back, and dropped around the first down marker by Andrew Petrillo and Vin Caparasso.
The Eagles are out of timeouts. Is that right? And the game will continue. We're down to about 45 seconds left. So if Byram Hills can sit on the ball, they'll have a victory and be alone up on top of League 3A. Len?
First down and 10 for the Bobcats. Dorfman just kneels down with the ball, trying to run the clock out. We'd like to announce at this point in time our vote for the most valuable player of the game for Byram Hills, Matt Muller, and for Eastchester, we have two gentlemen that we're selecting. We couldn't decide between the two of them. Both great defensive linemen, Chris McCrory and Joe Chiffone.
So, and that's the end of the game. Byram Hills Bobcats 6, Eastchester Eagles nothing. Congratulations to both teams in this marvelous game. The Bobcats will most likely stay #1 in Westchester Rockland and perhaps keep their #2 rating in the state. And the Eagles might even move up. And it looks like the Eagles can, on this performance, be the one selected in addition to go to a bowl game in Mount Vernon. For our producer and director, Mr. Mike Morgan, on camera also Mr. Morgan and Mr. Henry Lee, to our expert commentator, Pete Archiello, to our play-by-play caller, Len Inzio, to our spotter, Vince Caparasso. We thank you very much for watching. This is Jerry Fishoff on Eastchester Government Access Cable TV 35, and we will be back following a quick timeout with Eastchester girls volleyball. You're watching